Few things in life are black and white.
Listen, it can be as many shades of gray as it wants, as long as it's not 50. Hello, Internet. I'm Ren, and today we're going to talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 4, Episode 4, A Case of Chiaroscuro. And yes, I checked, that's how it's pronounced. In this episode, the Enterprise takes us on a film noir adventure to a Klingon-occupied planet with a 1940s Earth-adjacent aesthetic, as Una tries to help resistance fighters stand up against their occupiers. There's a lot to like about this episode, but the choice to shoot it in black and white is certainly going to be polarizing. However, I personally think it works and adds a lot to the episode. So let's get into it. Spoilers from here on out, you have been warned. The episode starts with the Enterprise on a mission to retrieve a probe that has drifted into Klingon space, and if discovered, risks reigniting the war.
The Federation cannot be here.
Acknowledged.
So Una, Uhura, and M'Benga sneak out on a shuttle to retrieve it all stealthy-like on her first mission as a commander.
Congratulations, Commander. The next promotion will be to captain.
Which I still swear I thought she already was. This region of space has some kind of special radiation that makes people perceive things as black and white.
That's due to the infrared black-body specter from the Mataran star.
They successfully manage to get the probe back to the Enterprise, only to encounter a Klingon ship, so they have to divert to the nearby planet of Matar 12, where an atmospheric barrier alerts the Klingons to the presence of an unidentified ship. So they have to hide the shuttle and abandon it so that their life signs don't lead them right to it. They generate some attire to blend in with the local population, who, other than their Klingon occupiers, look pretty much like ordinary humans, which is a lucky break for them, I guess. Although for us, it's fine. They also wear sort of a 1940s Western style of clothing with structured shoulder pads and wide lapels and, like, fedoras. I don't hate it. The planet is really cool looking in, like, a classic sci-fi way with big, imposing geometric buildings and a sort of industrial feel with all of the steam as they walk through the black and white streets. Klingon broadcasts warn them that identification is required as they take in their surroundings. The Klingons and their collaborators wear Nazi-inspired armbands, because of course they do. The symbolism in this episode is not subtle at all. They're about to try and walk somewhere and get off the street when a local collaborator spots Una and seems to recognize her.
Yvette? Where the hell have you been, boss?
She apparently resembles a woman called Nivette well enough that people who know her completely believe she's her.
2 days without contact and we thought you were dead.
The man, Roman, seems surprised to see her and asks her to return to their HQ, which is like a crowded Art Nouveau-style bar or cafe. Once inside, he hands over a captive resistance member for her to interrogate, and Uhura wonders whether Una will actually be able to pull off this deception.
I mean, what are the odds Una looks so much like this woman that no one can tell the difference?
Slim, but possible.
And is even surprised that they don't run into their doppelgangers more often in this vast universe, which is kind of cheeky considering how many times that actually has happened in Star Trek. Mirror universe episodes aside. He also gives Uhura tips on how to construct an alias and blend in under hostile conditions like this.
If you do, pick something close to the truth. Your first name, your loved one's surname. Easier to remember.
Which will, of course, come in handy later. Back on Enterprise, La'an wants to investigate the probe after it spent a fair amount of time in Klingon space to make sure that no one tampered with it.
Let's make sure we didn't bring in a Trojan horse. It's from the Odyssey.
Spock immediately seems to find her a bit overzealous.
That is an unnecessary leap.
You sound like Christine.
And during the process, she mentions that she's been seeing Chapel weekly, just to make sure that the Vulcan transformation didn't trigger any latent violence in her genes. But don't be silly, La'an. It's not being a Vulcan that does that. It's you being under the influence of literally anything at all. Fight! And she does admit that she's been a little bit paranoid lately.
So far, just a little extra aggression, occasional paranoia.
During her search, though, she finds some data clearly missing from the probe, and it looks like it's been wiped. But Spock is dubious.
Look, the data's missing.
Or it was hastily replaced after maintenance, resulting in a faulty chip.
Still, she takes it to Pike, and he allows her to investigate.
You're the security officer. If you think something smells funny, go sniff it out.
On Matar, Una interrogates the Resistance woman, and discovers that Nivette is also part of the Resistance.
I have secured the reading.
Some Klingons, including Commander Kor, who we recognize from the original series and Deep Space Nine, make an appearance. And the captor gives Una a frequency,
34.6 megahertz.
and then bites down on a hidden capsule, poisoning herself. Una implies that she's responsible for the death to Kor, who seems annoyed about the loss of information, but pleased at her lust for violence.
Information is valuable, but brutality more so.
And M'Benga stops Uhura from reacting to the woman's death.
Order another drink. None of them are looking. Or you shouldn't either.
Una then puts on her trusty armband, and M'Benga fills her in on who Kor is.
A regarded member of the Imperial family. He will not be easy to deceive.
This is bad.
They decide that it might be a good idea to make their way back to the shuttle for obvious reasons.
Risk factors have changed. I've engaged with the Klingons. A woman is dead because of me.
But there's a new checkpoint, and a resistance man is executed right in front of them.
May Matar never waver!
When Uhura moves to help him, she gets the attention of the Klingons, who arrest her for lack of identification. Oops. Another resistance member, Jalem, also thinks Una is Nivette, and reveals that she's actually the leader of the resistance.
The resistance would be lost without its leader.
But he does promise to help get Uhura out. Which is good, because she is being aggressively interrogated by the Klingons.
What do the Resistance want from the neodymium munitions facility?
She does her absolute best to avoid revealing her identity to Kor, who thinks that she's a resistance fighter.
I'm a villager from the outskirts. My family died when I was very young.
And back at the local watering hole, they find out more about the resistance. And Jalem tells them about a plan Nivette was involved in to break into a munitions facility.
But were you successful?
No, it was too risky.
He also directs her to Nivette's office to get her ID card, so that she doesn't also end up arrested. La'an continues to search for answers with the probe, and recruits Asha to help her with a mysterious transmission she found that seems to be sending and receiving data from the Enterprise.
Uhura mentioned you have an especially gifted ear for transmissions.
Using a bit of reverse psychology when flattery doesn't immediately work.
Flattery is a transparent and antiquated method of coercion. Fine, I'll find someone more capable.
La'an tracks the transmission to Ortegas and Scotty's quarters. They admit to sort of jerry-rigging a navigational buoy to help cut through the interference from the radiation.
I just wanted to help my friend and my ship.
We also find out that Ortegas and Scotty are still getting along and palling around, and I love it. The little line about the Cuban sandwich is adorable.
You want to tell her what you had for lunch today, too?
A Cuban sandwich. I love mustard.
And kind of makes me want one. But on closer inspection, Scotty realizes that there's a secret signal that was hidden underneath his transmission.
It's odd. There might be a hidden signal beneath my relay.
So La'an continues to investigate. And Uhura continues trying to withstand the Klingon interrogation, which now involves some kind of mind-reading device. She's having a rough time and makes the mistake of referring to the trees around the fictional village that she's allegedly from as green.
What color are the trees in your village?
Green.
Her cover story is pretty weak, and Kor is definitely suspicious.
I have read of green forests on other worlds.
Not a great start.
Your resolve is strong. I will continue to enjoy eroding it.
He begins speaking a rare Klingon dialect with a colleague. Clearly totally unaware that Uhura can understand him. Una fools some facial recognition and manages to investigate Nivette's office, where they find some evidence of Nivette's resistance work, including smuggling families off of the planet, and they discover that Jalem has a daughter. They also discover a chip that has details regarding plans to break into the munitions facility to steal a detonator and facilitate an EMP attack against the Klingons, which will disable the force field. They also find the ID card and a cryo chamber with a deceased Nivette inside. Una is unsettled by their discovery for pretty obvious reasons.
It was like looking into my own casket.
But now that she knows the plan, she realizes that the frequency that the resistance woman gave her is for the detonator to execute the EMP attack. She also worries that whoever killed Nivette is probably going to come after her next, thinking that they didn't finish the job.
A woman in a position like that would have many enemies.
And now they're all my enemies.
And she'd be right. Uhura is finally released from the Klingons, who are clearly still unaware of her identity as a Starfleet officer. And she reveals that she overheard their plans to do a serious military crackdown on Matar in the next 24 hours.
Klingons are planning a full military takeover in 24 hours.
Including making the existing atmospheric barrier nearly entirely impermeable.
The Klingons have fortified the central tower. Soon it'll have the only portal allowing traffic on and off Matar.
They apparently view Matar as essential.
Its proximity to their greatest enemy is an advantage they can't afford to lose.
Nyota tells Mbenga a bit about the interrogation and her secret identity.
Did you have to choose an alias?
Nyota Nakuru.
Which included a reference to his hometown in Kenya. It's kind of a sweet moment. Now that they have ID cards and can travel through the Klingon checkpoints, Mbenga says they should return to the shuttle and escape while they can. Then Kor and some Klingons show up, singing the drinking song that we heard Neelix sing in Voyager and Worf sing in Deep Space Nine. It's a nice little callback. However, they're immediately drowned out by Mataran music on the piano, which enrages them. And Una decides that this time she's going to fight with the Resistance.
We all know Starfleet is not always right.
Due to her guilt over their family abandoning their Illyrian city while their friends stayed to fight.
Some wanted to fight. My family did not. Innocent people suffered.
Mbenga doesn't like it.
This isn't just impersonating someone in a cafe.
But Una is firm.
I know how to pretend to be something I'm not.
And she is in charge. Meanwhile, La'an brings the mystery transmission to Spock, who, for some reason, is incredibly skeptical about the whole thing.
Do you think this could be an encrypted data transmission?
No. The evidence does not support your hypothesis.
Like, Pike thinks there's reason to investigate. Scotty seemed to find the transmission suspicious. I don't know why he's acting like La'an is being completely unreasonable here, but he does, and insists that she's just being paranoid.
You said that you've been feeling paranoid as of late. Perhaps it is that.
But La'an's gut tells her otherwise, so she continues to investigate. Kor and Una drink some blood wine and toast the Empire. And she reveals that she knows their plan.
I must prepare you for our next phase.
Oh, I already know.
And probes Kor to see how much he trusts her. I love their little game of cat and mouse. It keeps the episode so much more tense and interesting.
I needed to test the depths of your loyalty.
Did I pass?
He then reveals the rest of their plan, which includes a broader military crackdown that reduces Matarans to essentially second-class citizens.
Native Matarans will no longer hold positions of power, nor will they be free to live where they wish.
And of course, to swiftly and violently put down any resistance.
Acts against the Empire will be met with the most extreme penalties.
That night, Una successfully breaks into the munitions factory, and with the help of Mbenga and Uhura's directions, manages to get her hands on the detonator. Mbenga is concerned because it's obviously a suicide mission. The detonator will go off as soon as you go through a Klingon checkpoint, immediately revealing where the detonator came from, and of course, allowing the Klingons to retaliate accordingly.
This does not need to be you. You've done enough for this planet.
Unfortunately, Roman tracks her down, and it turns out Kor never trusted her and sent him to follow her. He's holding her at gunpoint, but that doesn't matter because of who Una is as a person, so she just immediately disarms him and kicks his butt. She does offer him a chance to redeem himself by helping the Resistance.
Help the Resistance reclaim Matar.
That would kill me.
But he runs away like a little poop baby coward instead. In sickbay, La'an is a bit in crisis after Spock has made her doubt herself, so she checks in again with Chapel.
I checked everything. Delivery logs, transporter logs, security data.
Who reveals that La'an was right, and it was in fact her who tampered with the data.
It was you. Why?
The Angelo 1 had sensitive information.
Because the probe had detected a Starfleet medical ship, the USS Yang, which had crossed into Klingon territory to respond to a distress call. The ship's commander was a friend and asked for Chapel's help in concealing the data.
If that data fell into the wrong hands, even Starfleet hands, careers would be lost, or worse.
And so, as a friend, Chapel asks the same thing of La'an.
I am asking for you to be a friend, not a security officer.
Back on Matar, it turns out that Una had planted the detonator on Roman, and it goes off as he enters a Klingon checkpoint to go and snitch on her.
That set me up! No!
And the force field goes down. And Una reveals that she isn't Navette, and tells Jalem that he's the leader of the Resistance now.
Our people need a leader.
They have one. You may not be Navette, but you will find your own way.
And she leaves them with a message of hope.
I know what it's like to lose, and then to hope, use that.
La'an gives Pike a status update on the probe, but ultimately decides to keep the data a secret.
Did anything come of your investigation?
Did you know Scotty and Ortega's are friends now?
Pike seems to know that she's hiding something, but doesn't press her. And in the shuttle on the way back to the Enterprise, Mbenga tells Una a story about his first posting in Starfleet, and how he was forced to kill a whole bunch of guys to liberate a Federation hospital on a planet that recently had joined the Federation but still had a large anti-Federation faction.
When I was done, not one loyalist was left alive.
And it mostly serves to remind us, again, what a skilled assassin Mbenga is, which is wild for a doctor. But at least he acknowledges the contradiction, I guess.
Irony notwithstanding, few things in life are black and white.
Una wonders if she made the right choice. Yes. But she still feels a profound connection to Navette.
But I understood Navette, living a hidden life to protect others.
And as they make it back to Federation space, we get a last shot of Una in color. And it's kind of beautiful. Personally, I think A Case of Chiaroscuro is one of the stronger episodes so far this season. While it has a gimmick like many of the episodes do lately, the choice to do the episode mostly in black and white works really well for the film noir themes and aesthetic. The choice to use a 1940s adjacent inspired wardrobe and frame the Klingons as an occupying force, with the Resistance fighting against them, was also very effective at creating a sort of shorthand for the viewer. And the episode overall probably has one of the strongest visual identities so far this season, with a very cool fusion of Art Deco and Art Nouveau inspired features to both the sets and architecture and the costuming. I loved the tall, geometric, imposing buildings, and I liked how the costumes had very structured, geometric shapes as well. There were also some lovely details like the beautifully textured fabrics, and stuff like the fun little crisscross lapels that created a lot of visual interest. We get a strong sense of place for Matar, even with the sort of lazy choice to make the Matarans just look like regular humans. Although, even that works as a bit of a TOS throwback, especially in an episode that otherwise would feel at home in the original series. It is still a bit of a disappointment, although it makes sense for the whole Una looking like Navette plotline, since it's able to justify it with fewer narrative leaps. It just feels like a missed opportunity to introduce us to a new alien species when we finally get to spend a little bit of extended time on a strange new world. The powerful performances from Rebecca Romaine, Babs Olusanmakun, and Celia Rose Gooding really help to anchor the episode and pull you into the story, to the extent you almost forget about the grayscale. It's also just nice to see Una with more to do this season. And this episode works well as a deep dive into her character, and bookends pretty effectively with what we learned about her backstory in Ad Astra per Aspera, which explored her identity as an Illyrian whose family fled Federation oppression and went into hiding rather than staying to resist like many other families. The twist at the end was a lot of fun too, with Una smuggling the detonator onto Roman without him noticing. Since she's usually so straight-laced, it's easy to forget how cunning Una actually is.
I do love rules. And lists. And rules about lists.
And it juxtaposes nicely with her more overall compassionate nature. I also want to add that Damore Barnes is wonderful and menacing as Core.
The work you do feigns nobility, but it is misguided.
And adds a fair amount of gravitas to the story as well. And I love the way that he plays off of Una.
Fate was cruel not making you a Klingon.
Klingon villains are just always so much fun. However, the episode definitely doesn't get points for originality. This is retreading ground Star Trek has walked many times before in prior series, including TOS's Patterns of Force, Voyager's The Killing Game, Enterprise's Stormfront, most of DS9, and even more episodes I'm not immediately thinking of. So it might have been nice to see them go a slightly different direction, in terms of the mystery or at least the allegorical framing device. But the storyline was still well executed here, and Trek is known for recycling enough stories to create just Star Trek-specific subgenres over its 1,000-ish episodes, so it's hard to be too mad about it. The B-plot with La'an's investigation into the probe is also pretty good, especially because Una and La'an have such similar internal struggles related to their augmented genetics. Here, it works well in terms of showing us that La'an can still trust her gut, although Spock's lack of trust in her probably does spell some trouble for them down the line. Oh, please God, no more Spockmances. I beg. Anyways, the real meat of La'an's story is learning to trust herself, but also her decision to keep Chapel's secret, which is a nice reminder of how far she's come from the relatively inflexible security officer that we met at the start of the series to someone more capable of seeing shades of gray. And shades of gray are explicitly stated as a theme in this episode, which explains the choice to have Mbenga, arguably the most morally gray character on Strange New Worlds besides, like, Pike, pretty much spell it out for us at the end of the episode.
Irony notwithstanding, few things in life are black and white.
The title is also a bit of a hint. Chiaroscuro is actually an art term. It describes using the contrasts between light and shadow to create a more visually dynamic piece of art. It's also often specifically emphasized in black and white film and photography. I liked the idea of those themes and their connection with the aesthetic of the episode, but I think they could have had Una do some more morally gray things than the unambiguously correct decision, which was helping violently occupied people resist their oppression. Same with La'an's objectively correct decision to protect doctors from being punished for humanitarian efforts. Like, both of them definitely violated some Starfleet regulations and certainly took some risks with the Klingons in terms of maybe reigniting the war. But since there were no actual consequences, it doesn't feel like quite enough weight to provide any real moral ambiguity to their decisions. That said, overall, I do think it is one of the stronger entries this season. It has some really nice character moments, a well-established visual identity, and a powerful message of hope, despite the lack of originality. It's a nice addition to the season, and feels like sort of an updated original series episode in a good way. But that's just my opinion. What did you think of this episode? Do you think Una's choices were morally ambiguous? Would you have preferred the Matarans to look like actual aliens? What is your favorite Star Trek Occupiers and Resistance episode? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe for more videos. See you next time. Wiedersehen.